Hello, welcome back to another video. My name is Gemma and today we are doing the end of the year book tag. So I feel like I'm really behind on this because I've seen loads of other people have already done this video, but if you're new, basically this is a rite of passage for many booktubers where I will be taking the opportunity to reflect a little bit on what's happened to date, but mainly looking at the next 2 months between now and the end of the year, what I am planning to do with the time that is left, and possibly some little nuggets of things that I might be doing next year. So all the plans that may or may not happen depending on how busy I am, but we like to plan. We like to plan over here, so bear with me. So there are 6 questions. Yes, there are 6 questions. So we'll run through them. I will try not to waffle too hard, and yeah, let me know what you think as we go. Oh, I should probably mention that this tag was created by Ariel Bassett. I will leave her channel linked below, and let's just do the questions. Question number 1. Are there any books that you still need to finish by the end of the year, but you've already started? Yes. Yes, there is one in particular, one that has been languishing on my currently reading shelf since March. That book is Crime and Punishment by Dostoyevsky. So, yeah, just to cast your mind back, because I've been blanking this from my own memory, so I'm sure you have too. I was buddy reading this with Alice from Alice and the Giant Bookshelf and Sandy at Miss Reads a Lot. Sandy finished it on schedule because she is a reading machine. Alice finished it, I think, a couple of months later. I am still only halfway through this book. So I really would like to finish it by the end of the year. Also, Alice and I now have a challenge running because she has recently started Dombey and Sons by Charles Dickens, and I may have, tongue-in-cheek, made a comment to Alice saying, oh, I think it's going to be the new Don Quixote. Don Quixote took her, what, 18 months to read, 2 years, and she's like, no, absolutely not. And so we challenged each other to see who would finish first. Now, just to add some more stakes to that situation, Alice told me that if I didn't finish Crime and Punishment by May, I am going to try and finish it by the end of the year, but if I don't finish it by May, she is going to send me her copy of Don Quixote and I have to read it. And so in response to that, I told Alice that if she didn't finish Dombey and Sons by the end of next year, I'm going to send her a copy of Moby Dick. And she will have to read that. So, like, the pressure is on now, the stakes are in the ground, and I really just want to finish it. But specifically, I want to finish it before Alice finishes Dombey and Sons. So I'll let you know how that goes. That was a really long answer to a question that had a one book response. But let's move on to question 2. Do you have any books to transition into the end of the year? So I do, not on purpose, just fortuitously. So I literally just read the 13th Tale. We read that for the FOMO book club that I run with Alice and Jack from Spread Bookjoy. I'll leave the live discussion below. It is spoiler filled, so if you haven't read it, you probably don't want to watch that. But it was a super gothic autumny book, and it was perfect for like transitioning into the cold weather and reading on cold dark nights. It was awesome. But I do have 2 other books that I'm going to be reading this month and maybe next month, and that's Weyward by Emilia Hart, which is very witchy, and We Have Always Lived in the Castle, which is like freaky castle, gothic-y, weird vibes. So I think both of those work perfectly for this question. I think they're very autumn gothic. Love it. Question 3, is there a new release that you are still waiting for? And I think the one that everybody has said to this question is the same as what I would say, Heartstopper Volume 5, which is due out I don't know, this month or next month. But super excited for that. I absolutely loved the first 4 volumes, and this is the last one, our last little soiree with Nick and Charlie, so very much looking forward to that. But I do have an additional answer, just so that I'm not really boring and like going with the crowd, you know, not give you something else to chew over. There was a book that I saw, and I haven't heard anyone else talk about it, but I'm now super intrigued based on the premise. It's called Same Bed, Different Dreams by Ed Park, and it's due out on the 7th of November, so I think potentially it may have come out before this video goes live, but very close, and I'm going to count it. And this just sounds awesome. It's an alternate history career, but I think it's got sort of sci-fi elements to it. It's got historical elements to it. It like throws the like Korean Civil War on its head. It just sounds really interesting, and I think Korean history is pretty interesting anyway. So yeah, how good does that book sound? And it's chunky, so I feel like it's going to be even better because it's chunky. It's like 500 odd pages. So yeah, really super excited for that one, and hopefully I can get to it soon, because I've hyped myself up for it twice now. Once when I read about it, and now as I am talking to you about it. So yes. Next question is, what are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? Now there are significantly more than 3 that I would like to read before the end of the year. I did have 2 sort of lists for this year. I had my 100 book bucket list books. I picked 10 of those, and I had 12 books which were like booktuber favourites last year that I wanted to read this year. I have done appallingly bad with both of those. There will be an update video coming when I can. I keep lying to myself and saying, well, I'm going to read more of them before the end of the year, so I'm waiting to film that video, but the reality is I probably won't. But I've picked 3 from these lists that I would really like to get to, and they are Flowers for Algernon by Daniel Keyes. So I have heard a few people talk about this recently. I know a few people read it last year. This is like a classic sci-fi. I think a lot of people in America read it at school, but I didn't hear about it until I was an adult. And it's supposed to be super sad. I don't really know too much about it apart from it's sad and it's sci-fi and it's got a mouse on the cover. So, but I really want to read it so that I know what the hype is about. So yeah, I'm hoping that that one at the very least I can get to. Also, Legends and Lattes, which I do actually have here. Legends and Lattes. I feel like I need cozy fantasy in my life, so I'd really like to get to this one. And then the last one is The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. I feel like I've talked about this book so many times. I know I'm going to love it. People keep telling me, Gemma, you'll really love that book. And yet, have I picked it up? No, I have not. So maybe before the end of this year, I will actually read it, and I can stop talking about it. Well, then I'll probably talk about it in a different way, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. The next question is there a book that could still shock you and become your best of the year? Well, yes. I don't pick up any books thinking they're going to be crap, but there is one in particular that I think has potential to be an all-time favourite that I'm buddy reading with Alice and Jack in December, and that is Shogun by James Cavell. This is a is it Japanese? It's like samurais and epicness. It's over 1,000 pages long, and Jack absolutely loves this book. She bought it for me last Christmas and told me that I would really love it. I very much value Jack's opinion, and we almost always agree on what makes an excellent book. So it's given me tingles. It's given me tingles. And then on top of that, there's a new series for it coming out in February, and I saw the trailer the other day. Jack sent me the link, and it's got me even more excited to read the book. So I think that one has high potential to be a best book of the year, if not the best book of the year. The one thing that might stop that from happening is if I don't finish it in December. We're going to start it in December. Whether we finish it in December is another matter. So that one has potential. But as I said, I'd love to find like a new best book of the year between now and the end of December, but it's got some stiff competition. And then the last question is, have you started making plans for 2024? And of course I have. I love plans. I love plans. Not so good at executing, but I love making them. So the obvious one for next year is the Women's Prize Plod Along, which I run with Alice and Charlie from Charlie Book Reads, where we follow the Women's Prize from the announcement of the long list to the announcement of the finalist. We talk to loads of people on BookTube who are also reading for the Women's Prize. And yeah, last year it was just so much fun. We have low-key started the planning for 2024. Very low-key, very, very low-key planning, but it will be happening and we're very, very excited to be bringing it back. So that's a solid plan, I would say. Also, the Past and Future Readathon in January that I co-hosted last year, which is the brainchild of Emily from Novell Novels. We will be doing that again. That is in pretty high level planning at the moment. So keep your eyes peeled. There should be an announcement for that at the beginning of December. So those two things are sort of definites. When it comes to book prizes, the Booker Prize. Let's talk about the Booker Prize. So I've followed it for 2 years now, not every single book, but pretty significant Booker following. I really didn't have a good time with it this year and I felt really burnt out with it. So next year I may low level follow it, but I'm not gonna like push myself to read loads of the books when I don't want to. But the prize that I am going to follow next year that I have never followed before, I don't really see anybody else following it in detail on BookTube, is the Arthur C. Clarke Award, which is a sci-fi book award and always has some really interesting titles. So I won't read the long list, but I will read the short list. I may read some from the long list as well. But yeah, I'm really excited to do that, and that sort of clashes with Booker timing as well. So that sort of kills the Booker off a little bit more. But yeah, I'm going to do the Arthur C. Clarke Award next year. So looking forward to that. The other one that is obviously definitely continuing is the FOMO Book Club. If you're unfamiliar, I run that with Alice and Jack. I'll leave all the details below, but we have picked out our books through to the end of October. So if you're interested, I will leave that below for you to check out, and we will be continuing that. We Have Always Lived in a Castle by Shirley Jackson is our book for November and December if you want to join, and the live show for that will be on Alice's channel at the end of December. Last year I also did Misery May with the lovely Scott from Gunpowder Fiction and Plot, which was a Thomas Hardy inspired readathon where basically we encourage people to read miserable books throughout May. I had a lot of fun with that project and I haven't actually spoken to Scott about it yet, but I would like to think we would do it again. No pressure, Scott, just, you know, it would be nice. So potential for that to go again next year. We'll see how timings go. I think that's it for sort of events. There is one thing that I'm going to start introducing on my channel as sort of a regular feature, and that is Hot or Not. Which is where I'm going to start reading a like brand spanking new release every month and deciding whether it's a hot release or not. And doing a solo review on that book so that you can see my opinions on some really fresh books coming out of the publishing industry. So let me know what you think of that. If you think it's crap, then just tell me. And yeah, really it's just a way to take some accountability for reading some newer books, because I really like reading new releases and I don't often get to them. So yeah, but I may well bring that in this month because there is a new release that I will be picking up soon, but I'm not going to spoiler it. If there's anything you want me to be doing, then please let me know below. Anything that I'm not doing that you want, and I will obviously keep my thinking hat on. I do have another potential series planned around BookTube recommendations, but we'll see. I don't want to overload too soon. You know, I want to just one thing at a time and let's build it up, because I know what I'm like. I'll be like, I've got all of these ideas and then I won't have time for any of them. So yes, if anybody is watching this who is a creator and wants to do this tag, please go ahead and do it. It's not really the kind of tag where people tag people anymore, because it's just part of the furniture, you know. But yes, I am very much looking forward to seeing what the Bookish 2024 brings. 2023 has been a solid reading year for me. Let me know if you've had a really good reading year or not. I'd love to know. And if you've made it to the end of this video, then give me a little stack of books emoji to say we've got through a stack, we've got a stack left to go. And I will see you all very soon with another one. Bye guys.